Today I want to talk about the Medieval remake. It's now been about 3 years since it released on the PlayStation 4 and I've been wanting to get into the game for a while now. The game just looked like a lot of fun to me, and I did play the original game and other games in the franchise a long time ago, but I didn't really remember a lot about it. So, after paying my whole life savings to a scalper a couple of months ago, I now finally own my own PS5. And after realizing once again that I still wanted to play this game, I decided that this would be the perfect moment for me to dive in. There was something I didn't anticipate though, and that's just how absolutely sadistic the creators of this game are. Let me just say that there isn't any other game out there in which water will scare you as much as it does in this game. The water in this game is your worst enemy, and every Dark Souls boss seems easy to beat in comparison. In Medieval you get to play as this guy. The reanimated skeleton of a champion knight who was killed by an evil wizard. And also brought back to life by the same wizard later on by mistake. He now sets out to get revenge on the wizard, who killed him in battle so many years ago. I actually really like the story in this game. It's a pretty straightforward one, but it's still pretty funny, and what makes it even funnier is the way that this guy looks. You know, his jaw fell off during battle, so he's not exactly even really talking, he's just mumbling throughout the entire game.
Look at you running around in your bones, Fortescue. You're so nouveau day.
And I think it really adds to the comedic nature of this game. He also has this very funny looking walk, which is also kind of satisfying to me to look at in a weird way. I don't know what it is about this walk, but going through the levels in this game is just more fun because of it. Now, I was surprised to see the reception of this game. It seems that most of the critics really weren't all that positive about it. The game is rated a 67% on Metacritic, and after playing the game myself, that just doesn't seem right to me. It's easy for me to see why this game became such a cult classic, from the beautiful looking art and direction to the charming characters and world. I do think the game has some serious flaws when it comes to the gameplay and level design, but nothing bad enough to stop me from really liking the game. And when I talk about flawed level design, I'm definitely not talking about the look of the levels themselves, because I actually think they're very nice looking. And overall, despite the flaws, I really enjoyed my time with this game, even though I almost cried a couple times because of how insanely difficult the game can be for no reason. I imagine that most of the negativity probably comes from it being as hard as it is. There are these challenges in the game that you get to collect, and you better don't make the same mistake that I did when playing, because if you do, you are going to regret your life choices. Collecting these challenges will give you better weapons, and without the help of these weapons you're just getting absolutely destroyed in the game. I spent some time in the game wondering what I was doing wrong, and only found out later that this is what you're supposed to be doing the whole time. Collecting challenges so you can get better weapons and better upgrades and money to spend in the game. And I would definitely advise new players to collect every chalice there is to collect. Most of the levels have one of them in them, and you know, every single one of them might give you a stronger weapon. But even after getting these weapons, the enemies in the game just hit extremely hard for some reason. They just do an insane amount of damage, and the problem I have with the combat is that there seems to be no real strategy to avoiding attacks. And take that how you will. I argue that some people will say that the combat of this game actually adds to the charm of it, and despite getting mad at this game so many times, I also kind of see it that way. Now, you do have shields that you can use in the game, but even then, it can still be very difficult to even kill a single enemy without taking a lot of damage in the process. Maybe there is some kind of strategy here that I'm missing though, but I'm not sure. And I imagine that it made a lot of people rage quit the game, especially people who have never played the game before. And definitely the critics, as you can see. I think that the fans are probably very happy with the game being the same now as it was then though, and I respect that. And I still think it's a very fun game regardless of the flaws. From what I've read in some reviews, it also seems that the fans know that the game is flawed, but they still love it nonetheless, and I like that. When it comes to the reviews, I still definitely lean more towards the user rating for the game. Even with the flaws, this game is still something special. I mean, just look at the way this game looks and plays, there's nothing else like it. You know, it has such a uniqueness to it, and that's something that actually makes me look past its flaws quite a bit. I actually had a smile on my face while playing this game, simply because of the way everything looked, and I actually felt excited about playing the game, which is something that's rare for me these days. Would I recommend the game though? Well, I think that it's definitely not a game for everyone, but if you're willing to look past the flaws that it has, then you've actually got a pretty great game here that's unlike any other. It's a fun game in many ways, and I really hope to play the second remake one day. Oh, and I just want to say that getting new weapons in this game is very satisfying. Seeing yourself walk around with a big ass sword is just completely badass. So definitely get those weapon upgrades.